I have made a decision. You are no longer my daughters. You must leave this house and never come back.
Manka and Mildred were shocked. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. But, Papa, why? Manka asked, tears welling up in her eyes. Joram turned his back to them and walked away without answering. Hello guys. Join us on an emotional journey through the lush landscapes of the village Babatu, Cameroon, with the heartbreaking tale of the sisters rejected by their own father. This powerful African story follows the brave and resilient sisters, Manka and Mildred, as they face the pain of their father's rejection and uncover the deep-seated family feud that tore them apart. Around the thriving, green town of Bamenda, Cameroon, in a village called Babatu, lived two sisters named Manka and Mildred. Manka, the older sister, was 12 years old and Mildred was 9. They lived with their mother, Pekuna, and their father, Joram. The girls loved playing in the fields, singing traditional songs, and helping their mother with chores. One sunny morning, as the sisters were gathering firewood in the forest, they heard their father calling them from the house. They quickly ran back, wondering what he wanted to tell them. When they arrived, they found Joram looking very angry. Manka, Mildred, he said sternly, I have made a decision. You are no longer my daughters. You must leave this house and never come back. Manka and Mildred were shocked. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. But, Papa, why? Manka asked, tears welling up in her eyes. Joram turned his back to them and walked away without answering. The girl's mother, Pekuna, came out, her face full of sadness. She hugged her daughters tightly. I am so sorry, my dear children, she said softly. I don't know why your father is doing this, but you must be brave. We will find a way. Pekuna packed a small bag for the girls with some food and clothes. She whispered words of encouragement and love as she led them to the edge of the village. Remember, you are strong and smart. Stay together and take care of each other, she said, her voice trembling. With heavy hearts, Manka and Mildred began their journey. They walked hand in hand, not knowing where they were going but determined to stay together. They walked through forests and fields, the sun setting behind them, casting long shadows on the path. As night fell, they found a small cave to rest in. Manka held Mildred close, whispering, we will be okay, Mildred. Mama said we are strong, and we have each other. Mildred nodded, wiping away her tears. Yes, Manka. We will be brave. We can do this together. The sisters fell asleep, dreaming of a time when they were happy and safe at home. Little did they know that their journey was just beginning, and many challenges lay ahead. But with each step they took, Manka and Mildred grew stronger and more determined. They had each other, and that was enough to keep moving forward. The next morning, Manka and Mildred woke up to the sound of birds chirping. They rubbed their sleepy eyes and looked around the cave. Good morning, Mildred, Manka said with a smile, trying to stay cheerful for her little sister. Good morning, Manka, Mildred replied, her voice still a bit shaky. What will we do today? Manka thought for a moment. First, we need to find some food and water. Then we can figure out where to go next. The sisters left the cave and began their search. They walked through the forest, keeping an eye out for anything they could eat. After a while, they found a small stream. The water was cool and fresh, and they drank until they were no longer thirsty. As they continued walking, they found a bush with ripe, red berries. Look, Mildred. This will be perfect for breakfast, Manka said, picking a handful and giving some to her sister. The berries were sweet and juicy, and the sisters felt a little better after eating them. Thank you, Manka, Mildred said, feeling more hopeful. You always know what to do. Manka smiled, but inside she was worried. She didn't know how long they could survive on berries and stream water. They needed to find a safe place to stay and someone who could help them. After walking for a few more hours, they came across a small village. It wasn't as big as Baba 2, but it looked friendly. The houses were made of mud and thatch, and there were children playing outside. Manka and Mildred hesitated at the edge of the village. They didn't know anyone here, and they were afraid of being rejected again. But they had no other choice. They needed help. As they stood there, a kind-looking woman noticed them. She had a warm smile and gentle eyes. "Hello, children," she said, approaching them. "What are you doing here all alone?" Manka took a deep breath and stepped forward. "My name is Manka, and this is my sister Mildred. We come from Baba 2, but our father told us to leave. We have nowhere to go." The woman's face filled with concern. "Oh, my dear children. That sounds terrible. My name is Patricia. You must be hungry and tired. Please, come with me." Patricia led the sisters to her home, where she lived with her husband, Solomon, and their 3 children. She gave Manka and Mildred a warm meal and let them rest in a cozy room. "We can't stay here forever," Manka whispered to Mildred as they lay in bed that night. "But for now, we are safe." The next morning, Patricia introduced Manka and Mildred to the village chief, Chief Eloka. He was a wise and kind man, respected by everyone. Patricia explained the sisters' situation, and Chief Eloka listened carefully. "Manka, Mildred," Chief Eloka said gently, "you are welcome to stay in our village for as long as you need. We will help you find your way." The sisters were relieved and grateful. For the first time since they had left Baba 2, they felt a glimmer of hope. They spent the next days helping Patricia with chores and playing with the other children in the village. But deep in their hearts, Manka and Mildred knew that their journey was far from over. They missed their mother and wondered why their father had rejected them. They knew they had to find answers and a place where they truly belonged. Days turned into weeks, and Manka and Mildred began to feel at home in Patricia's village. The villagers were kind, and the sisters enjoyed playing with the other children and helping with daily tasks. Despite this, the questions about their father's rejection still lingered in their minds. One sunny afternoon, while helping Patricia in the garden, Manka and Mildred overheard a conversation between Patricia and her husband, Solomon. They were talking about a wise old woman named Mama Bushu who lived on the outskirts of the village. Mama Bushu was known for her wisdom and her ability to help people find answers to their problems. Manka's eyes lit up. "Mildred, maybe Mama Bushu can help us understand why Papa sent us away," she whispered excitedly. The next morning, Manka and Mildred decided to visit Mama Bushu. They told Patricia and Solomon about their plan, and Patricia smiled warmly. "Mama Bushu is very wise. She might be able to help you. But remember, it's a long walk to her hut, so be careful." With a small bag of food and water, the sisters set off on their journey. The path was winding and narrow, but Manka and Mildred were determined. They walked for hours, through forests and across small streams, until they finally reached a small clearing where Mama Bushu's hut stood. The hut was made of wood and thatch, and smoke gently curled from the chimney. The sisters approached the door and knocked softly. A moment later, an elderly woman with kind eyes and silver hair opened the door. "Hello, children," she said in a soft, welcoming voice. "I am Mama Bushu. What brings you here?" Manka took a deep breath and explained their story, from their father's rejection to their journey to the village. Mama Bushu listened carefully, nodding her head as she absorbed every word. When Manka finished, Mama Bushu sat in thought for a moment. "Your story is indeed heartbreaking," she said gently. "But I believe there is more to it than you know. Sometimes, adults make decisions that seem cruel, but there are reasons behind them that we do not understand." Mama Bushu invited the sisters inside and served them a warm herbal tea. "I will help you find the answers you seek," she said. "But first, you must be patient and trust the journey you are on. That night, the sisters stayed in Mama Bushu's hut. As they lay on the soft mats she provided, Manka whispered, "Mildred, I feel like we are getting closer to understanding why Papa did what he did." Mildred nodded, her eyes heavy with sleep. "Yes, Manka. I hope Mama Bushu can help us find the answers." The next morning, Mama Bushu gave the sisters a special amulet. "This will guide you on your journey," she said. "It will help you find the truth, but you must be brave and follow where it leads." With the amulet in hand, Manka and Mildred thanked Mama Bushu and set off back to the village. The path seemed shorter on the way back, as if the amulet was guiding them. Back in the village, the sisters showed the amulet to Patricia and Solomon. Patricia gasped softly. "This amulet is very powerful. It will show you the way, but you must be prepared for what you might discover." Manka and Mildred knew that their journey was far from over. The amulet felt warm in their hands, as if it were alive. They could feel that it was leading them toward the answers they sought. With each step they took, they grew stronger and more determined to uncover the truth behind their father's rejection. Manka and Mildred held the amulet tightly as they left Patricia's home. They could feel its warmth guiding them, filling them with a sense of purpose and direction. They decided to follow where the amulet led, hoping it would bring them closer to understanding their father's rejection. As they walked through the village, the amulet seemed to pull them toward a path leading into the forest. The sisters followed without hesitation. The forest was dense and filled with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting dappled shadows on the ground. After walking for some time, they reached a clearing. In the center of the clearing was an old, abandoned house. The house looked worn and forgotten, with vines creeping up its walls and broken windows staring out like empty eyes. Manka and Mildred exchanged a glance. "Do you think this place has something to do with Papa?" Mildred asked, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and curiosity. "Maybe," Manka replied, trying to sound confident. "Let's explore it and see what we can find." They approached the house cautiously. The door creaked loudly as they pushed it open. Inside, the air was musty, and the floor was covered in dust. Broken furniture and old, faded pictures filled the rooms, telling a story of a time long past. As they explored, they found a small, locked chest in one of the back rooms. The amulet around Manka's neck began to glow softly. She touched it, feeling its warmth, and then tried the lock on the chest. To their amazement, the chest opened easily, as if the amulet had unlocked it. Inside the chest were old letters and photographs. Manka picked up a letter and began to read it aloud. It was addressed to their father, Joram, from a woman named Ijeoma. The letter spoke of secrets and past mistakes, hinting at a family history that Manka and Mildred had never known.